Yo, what up, fam? It's your boy D Tripper in the motherfucking building, and I'm back with another episode of Drugs. Today's episode is episode 2. I'm calling it The Warning. Again, this is for educational purposes. This is not me out here promoting this. This is me just giving examples, understandings, and through my life experiences, some stories, and it's to try help people, more again, for that have just never been around this and don't know much at all about it, giving them a better perspective of it. So I'm trying not to have really an opinion in this. This is called The Warning because honestly, and not all honesty behind it all, I'm a father and stuff, so I understand the repercussions of drugs. So this is something I'm hoping that can deter people that were not supposed to be a part of this world, ever step foot in this world. So it is for that. I do use drugs. I know a lot of people are going to think that's being a hypocrite or contradicting. But if there is a profession in certain things that comes from life experience, I have a lot of experience in it. And I'm just trying to give you guys a better understanding of this. So if you are into this, tune in, and if you're not, then man, everyone's allowed their own opinions. I'm trying to make the world a better place by sharing things that I know and that I've understood, and through my life experiences. I'm always going to be what I am. I'm 100% real. There's one thing I am. You can't check me on that one. But at the same time, I'm not perfect. So I ain't even trying to get on here and be like, oh, I'm a changed man, all that shit. That ain't me. I'm happy with my life. So I'm trying to make the world a happier place. So I'm speaking about things that I understand, and drug use and drugs is definitely one of them. So this is more for Timmy's parents and Karen. I'm not going to call your name, but I'm talking to you fellas, and to any concerned parents that are on here trying to find something, because there isn't really much out there for, say you're a straight family and your son's using methamphetamines, or he's fucking on juice, fucking pumping his shit into his arms, or even if you're just one of those people that they're smoking a bit too much weed and you don't understand what's going on. So all these things I'm sharing, man, it's to improve the world. So please don't get me wrong, but please don't think that I'm a liar, because I ain't one of those. So if you are still here, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow, it helps me understand that there is people, and I should continue doing these to help others. There's no point in putting 1,000 things out about saying that doesn't really make the world a better place. So I'm just trying to contribute back to humanity, because I think that's what we're born to do as human beings. So we'll jump into it. I don't really practice these, just so everyone knows. These are very much, I put the phone, because I just recorded this on my phone. Just put this up, I put a light on, and I've got my missus, she's doing some work over here. So it is a very normal situation. This isn't staged or like me practicing something. I wrote down 5 things on a piece of pad, highlighted what the important things I feel should be told in this episode. And then I just sit in front of the camera and I talk. So, nothing but love. The heavy repercussions. Because this episode 2 is called The Warning, it is for that, exactly, because you need to understand this is the type of world, and this is no bullshit aside, this world can be very dark. The top surface of it it's like a really strong ice cream, at the top, and you're like, man, it's so yum, and then you're eating through it, and then by halfway, oh my guts, and then by the end, you're like, man, I wish I never did that. That's what the drug world's like. It doesn't matter what drug it is, too. Stop comparing them, as in, people are either using them for the fucking wrong reasons altogether, or they're just animals that get on, I don't know, once every fortnight or something, and they go to town. There's a big difference. That's why you need to, understand. But in hindsight, I'd say, it's definitely not for a big majority of the world. You should not be... You should be, if you are going to experiment, it should be in a safe environment, and that's why I think I'm trying to help explain this, because ain't no one really comfortable saying oh yeah, if we're going to use drugs, I want them to use them at my house first. Yeah, everyone I know that has been given that option and given that type of situation, they've usually gone on not to use as heavy. The ones who were told they weren't allowed something and sneak out with their mates, they're the ones who would end up in really, really bad situations. And I grew up on the North Shore of Auckland. And just really quickly, a couple of the things I've seen, and I'm not going to mention any names in this, but, because, these are some pretty heavy things, but, I know people that have ended up in such a heavy situation that they've had to join a gang because they owed money because they fucked up because of drugs. I've watched one of my mates get kidnapped at gunpoint right in front of me, and for drug money. And it was just such a fucking, obviously there was a different mindset back there. All of this was from a long time ago. But after he got kidnapped, we kind of just went back to playing video games and kind of like got stoned. And I hope he never sees this, but I was kind of like, not that we forgot, but that's how normal the world became. They're like, oh, fuck, should we do something here? We'll get Blaze first and put some Street Fighter on. Fucking. And next thing, like, it's later that day, we're like, fuck, oh, I should have gone into that story too much, but yeah, holy shit. And like, situations where I've been told that someone's like, standing on their missus' guts to hide a pregnancy each day. That's how deep and like nasty and dirty and dark this world can be. Some people definitely aren't made for this. Some of us have just seen shit for so long now that it's kind of like the shock value in anything's gone now. You see the worst now. It's kind of just like keep eating your chips like, oh fuck, this fucked up. And that's what I mean. Like for normal people, which is 90% of the world, man, like really think about that for a second, man. Like taking on a traumatic situation like that, like say you've lived this normal life and then next thing you're using drugs, next thing you're like, oh, hang out with this dude, oh, this dude's cool, oh yeah, he's involved with it. Next thing you're in a situation where you're like, holy fuck, what the fuck just happened? Everyone's sitting there, dude, you're like, that is some heavy shit. That will fuck a normal person up long term, man. Like, you know, you just see that out of nowhere. So you people really need to understand, like, this world ain't for everyone, man. This world ain't for everyone, because this has just been a part of my life now. Like, it's not that I'm not shocked by anything anymore, but I'm definitely like, say a person like comes home from war and they've seen some shit, man. You know, they see shit way different. You know, they're almost, you know, just as volatile and shit like people from the hood, man. Like, that shit never shakes with people like us. And when I say the hood, I just mean a neighborhood that didn't have as much money as maybe a couple of districts over. And yes, there is poor neighborhoods in all sides of Auckland, even the North Shore, man. So we seen our fair share of shit too. And we had it even rougher because we're labeled the rich part of town. So we had to fight on all defenses on all sides. So there was a lot of heavy situations that we went through because of that realization of our area and where we lived and the lack of money and the amount of drugs. And there's a lot of drugs in a lot of poorer neighborhoods. Like, don't even get that fucked up. That's statistically the way the world is. Where there's a lot of pain, there's usually a lot of drug use. So if you are coming from these flash parts of towns, you need to realize that slower and slower you're going to get darker places into the darker places. The places you're like, fuck, I've heard stories about this, never been there. Most of the time they're not as bad, but if you go to the bad, then you can end up in a situation you cannot control. So I think another thing too is like the health repercussions. Like, I'm not going to go into each individual one, but when I'm 37 now, you start to really realize a lot of things that start to fuck with you. You know, these are repercussions. I think life wears you down too, so don't get it twisted. Like, there's a lot of things in life that can fuck you up. I know people that never use drugs and they're mad as shit. I know kind of that drank more than everyone and he outlived everyone because he was a happy cunt. So you can't just boil everything down into one generalization, but this world's a crazy place, man. You ain't built for this shit. This shit will fuck you up. I know a lot of people that didn't come out the other side, you know, by their own hands and stuff. And, you know, it's just because the pressure of this world there's a lot of pressure. So any kids looking to get into it, don't. Like, man, you got a whole lifetime, man. Wait till you're a bit more of an adult. Like, that's the truth about it, I think. I'm not a judgmental person, though. So, like, if someone says that they're using drugs, like, I'm more of a give them some instruction manuals. It's not my life. I wish they didn't, but they did. So, but honestly, this is probably the biggest thing I can say. If you're using drugs and you feel guilty about it, you're not made for this world. If there's a feeling of guilt at the back of your mind every time, or majority of the time, or even, you know, it's just not. And in general, I wouldn't advise anyone to use drugs until, they're at least 25, man. Because she's still developing and shit. So as a father now, like I started drinking first. And yes, I do class alcohol as a drug too. Don't think that it's not. How many alcoholics you got in your family? Guarantee you can name a few. See, so don't act like that shit ain't part of this too. So even alcohol, like, obviously it's an unrealistic thing to say. But now, I guess when you become a father and you start getting older, things change in your head and you're like, oh, man. But again, I'd never judge anyone for anything because I've done the illest. I started drinking when I was 13. So, like, 14, I started sneaking it too. I was becoming a pussy by myself, which was fucking way worse than my shit. So then I moved on to, I might as well quickly run through it. I used methamphetamines really heavily for 10 years because then I could drink every day. I was predominantly an alcoholic. When I'm coming down, I need something to chill, so I'd smoke weed. If I needed some shit to do the next day, I'd probably take like E's and, I'm going to be honest, like, taking a lot of acid in my life through the acid stages and stuff. Mushrooms, used to get fucking a lot of mushrooms. So, like, I've done my fair share and I've done a lot more than most people. I'm not going to say I'm proud of it, but I'm definitely not I'm definitely not ashamed of it either. I think I was made to feel ashamed, but now I'm older. I'm like, man, I'm a good person. None of the shit I did really affected or hurt anyone. At least I was part of a dark world. But fuck, man, all of us walk different paths in life, so try not to judge each other and try to learn a bit. I want to move into the bad reasons for using. Like a lot of people I know, like because I've been on scene for so long, and that just means that these were just people that grew up the road, and there's things uncle, and there's blah blah. So it's not like we got involved. We were already involved. We were born involved. That was our neighborhood. So it's not like we said use the words that you fellas use, like dealers and da da. That's just blah blah, and he's got some blah blah, and the others and got some da das. You know, so in the neighborhood you grow up and do really have a big hand in this a lot of the times. Bad reasons for using. Yeah, honestly, I met a lot of people in my life that are just like, oh, I just broke up with my missus, or I just broke up with my boyfriend, and then like they're jumping on a pipe or something. I'm like, fuck, do not, like, you need to sit with that shit for a bit, man. Maybe get pissed here and there and fucking, you know, yeah, you write yourself off or whatever. I'm not a counselor. But man, if you're coming into a world to hide from pain, like breakups, if you suffer from depression and someone offers you something and you feel really good because of it, fuck, man, that's not normal. That's not real. That is temporary fix to fix a big hole. And that's why they see, you know, you see so many broken-hearted people on the scene, man. And like, because there was rules with us growing up. We never did something heavy, anything in the A-class range with anyone who'd ever not done it. So if you hadn't done it and you try to sit down with us, we'll tell you, fuck off. And now I'm lucky that we kind of like, you know, if it did happen, like a lot of us would just walk away like, oh, this is disgusting, because we know what it is. We know the real side of it, so we don't want anyone coming into this world. Because once some of these people come in, they never come back out, or they come out in a body bag. And, you know, that's just being 100% real too. And it's a ripple effect sometimes. It's not a direct effect, but next thing they've lost their whole family, lost their job, lost fucking everything. Why? Because they started using drugs. That's real. That's real. And that's why I am making this warning to people. Now, for kids more than anyone, man, like, now I'm older again. I ain't getting old and shit. I start to care a bit more about the whole. Like, before, it was just my neighborhood. Like, fuck the rest of yous. I'll fucking die for my neighborhood. Fuck yous. And now I'm getting older. I'm like, man, there's a whole beautiful world full of beautiful children, full of beautiful people. We're all trying to make a change. We all have life experiences we're trying to share. So, I've seen some sad things, man. This was kind of made us cold. Like, you know, when we see things happen, it's not as damaging to us because we're like, fuck us, you know, this is just, you've seen this before. Whereas when you haven't seen it and you haven't been to that many funerals and you haven't been to that many rehabs, it's hard for people to understand. So the reasons for using, you really need to check that, man. Like, I know people who even just like hate their work. I mean, they hate their life in general, so they start like secretly using behind scenes. Like, that's really unhealthy, man. Like, at least alcohol you can smell. It's very hard. Not saying that there should be comparison, but, you know, you can kind of spot a drunk. You know, when they become a super duper alcoholic, you know, it's really hard enough. But, you know, there is drugs now that can be hidden, man. Like, even my meth use, I wasn't saying that I was like full-blown crackhead, but because it gave me the ability to wake up or not even sleep, I could drink all night and then go to work, and I'm an alcoholic that much that I fucking love to drink. And it made me like be able to drink constantly. So I didn't realize how big the hole was that was gaping. I'm not going to go into that story. That's for another episode of something else. But, you know, I had a lot of shit happen in my life. So I was trying to hide from everything. I bottled it. I didn't talk about it. I just fucking this drugs and alcohol made me numb. I didn't have to feel. And then, like, all it really did is delay the inevitable. That you have to deal with that shit. Now, I went to rehab twice. I ended up in a mental health ward in the Gold Coast. And man, like, that's real. Like, you know, like, deep down embarrassing. Like, obviously it was something I couldn't help, but like, I cracked, like, you know, properly rocking and fucking couldn't control what I was saying. Like, proper full-blown. Lost my mind. And that was from a build-up of not dealing with some shit, man. So if you're using drugs to deal with some shit, that shit is not healthy. And I'm only saying this, trying to be a big brother, or, you know, I ain't gonna say a father for looks, I'm not that good at that, but I do my best. And all I'm good at is keeping it real more than anything. And right or wrong, I just want this to be able to help someone along the ways. Addiction. That's a massive one, because addiction doesn't just come in one sort of form, man. Like, what, you fat people, no, I'm not even picking on you, but you fat people, you don't think that food's an addiction? I guarantee you do. Hey, how many people have broken up and ended up becoming an addict to work? Hey, I know heaps of people that all of a sudden they're like, nah, I need to do more at work. And then, no, you just don't want to sit down and deal with your shit. So don't reckon, like, you need to recognize that there is a massive thing with addiction. And if you have an addictive personality, you come to this world, I guarantee 99% of you don't come back out. And like, yeah, again, I don't want to put my personal opinion or how I am into this too much. But addiction and using drugs and alcohols to deal with something, a pain, a trauma, a memory, super unhealthy. There's a massive difference between you and old Rick up the road who fucking, racks up a couple of lines every month and goes to a dance party. So both of them have effects where you could end up in a bad situation. Of course they do, but using drugs all the time and spending every dime you have, and once you start like selling your shit or like swapping shit for drugs, man, like you're fucked. It's a very hard point to come back from once you start doing that shit, man. Like, and that's what I'm trying to deter, because I have seen that a lot in my life. I've seen really, really people in really good positions lose everything, man. And that's some real shit, man. I mean, like their whole family, their houses, their businesses, and just watch them deplete. And there's nothing you can say or do sometimes. My first episode 1, that talks a lot about that. So if you do see this episode and you are interested, the first episode does talk about that a lot more. But think about it, man. Like, if you're about to use a drug, man, and it's because you're in a bad way, you need to understand you're going to be in a worse way, and it's going to delay something that you have to deal with. Man, or you're just going to crash and burn, man. You can even hide that shit for 20 years behind all those drugs, and she's still going to come out of this and have to deal with it, man. Like, I know people in their 50s still trying to hide that shit. I can see it. We can all see it. We all know it was that lady that left them 30, 40 years ago that fucked him, and it's just because he's held on to it. Like, he just needs to deal with that shit, man. So, again, I'm just gonna say it, man. Must be the dad of me, but kids, like, yeah, you're a kid. You're a teenager too. Stop thinking the world's unfair. Wait. Just wait. Wait, man, because, yeah, some bad things can happen, man. The fourth thing I wrote down is be yourself. I think a lot of people, again, they get really, really fucked is because they don't know how to be themselves. So all of a sudden, this world full of drugs can give you a place where you can just make up anything. And because there is a lot of cook cunts there, like, everyone's talking cook shit. And because you're all cooked, no one's really turned the frying pan off. And what happens when you leave the frying pan on too long? Man, the whole place goes up in flames. So honestly, like, being yourself is super important, because I think when you're wearing a mask, drugs can help that mask. Like, I know a lot of stoners, man, they don't leave their house. They don't do shit. And their mask is like pretty much the bong now. Might as well wrap that shit to their face and say that's their last, they're just counting down the minutes and days till they finish their life. And that's all they're going to do. And that's sad too. Like, I'm not saying that just has to be a heavy A-class drug where you're fucking involved with fucking heavy gangs and blah, blah, blah. But, your local weed man that fucking just sits there every day and needs to be the fucking pop man, fucking rock his socks and make him chill out and not think in his head. If you ever thought about that, most stoners, they're like, some shit's happening, and they just, you can tell they don't want to think about what is going through their head. So if you get fucking bonged up, you fucking, again, not going to deal with your shit. So again, all of these avenues usually end up is you becoming a miserable person, you resenting the world like it was the world's fault that you didn't deal with some shit, man. Stop blaming the world, man. And stop using drugs to hide from it, man. Like, that's the truth about it. I don't know how to tell you how to be yourself. This is me being myself. I smoke weed and I just talk about stoners. So there's a big difference between on how people use. I'm not encouraging anyone using it. I think if you are, this episode isn't really for you. But I think for those people, just trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with their kids, or like, the nephew. A lot of the times you guys think worst case scenario, so then you start pushing worst case scenario on the drug user. That doesn't help either, it's going to be honest. Honestly, if someone's going to use, they're going to use. This video is me saying, guys, try to delay it as long as you can, maybe think about it a bit more. If you're going to, you're going to. There's nothing to do about it, parents. There's nothing to do about it, friends. And the message, the main message, I wrote, don't do drugs. See, so deep down, like, even though I use them, I do. I want to just be honest. And yeah, as each episode has a different perspective on things, this is the warning. I really do. I think if we all delayed it a bit for a lot of things until you're 25, man, go live a cool life first, man, and then go hard. And everyone tells you to rush and hurry up and figure out your shit, man. I know old cunts still haven't figured out this shit. I'll never figure out my shit, but I'm lucky that I figured that one out. Everyone thinks that there's an end goal of figuring that shit out. I know that it's just constantly evolving, so I just constantly evolve with it. If you are going to use drugs, plan it out, man. I'm just going to be honest. Like, plan it out. Have the next 3 days, like if you're going to use some real heavy shit, know where you're going to stay that night or for the next 3 days if you're not going to go home. Have enough food, water, man. Make sure you hydrate yourself. Well, no matter what it is, the body needs water. Use water, eat food, get your nutrients up. Know that you're going to be safe. If you're going to take some fucking crazy shit, man, make sure you got a place that you can chill in for the next 2-3 days, because they come down on those are heavy, man. You don't want to be like somewhere like trying to hide shit again. You need to let people sometimes, like, especially like if you really need to, you need to let someone know what's going on, man. It's real. Like, let your friend know, let your fucking mates know. I'm saying like you need to go be out there snitching on them, but you need to, like, you know, I'm going to blah blah, let's try this out. I'm not telling you because I want your opinion, but I just want someone to know. I know it's always good because I know a lot of people that haven't told anyone they've ended up in bad situations. I'm just trying to help where I can, and yeah, plan. Like, even now, if I know I'm gonna have a heavy Friday night, I'll make sure I don't have the kids for Saturday. I know that on Sunday we can probably go to the markets, lie on the beach. So that's what I mean by plan it out. Make sure that you got enough breathing space that it doesn't make it fucking, it's not spur of the moment. Doing drugs spur of the moment. Whee! That's a real 50-50. So remember that. Spur of the moment drug use 50-50 can be the best night of your life, or you can end up in the fucking cells. And be yourself, man. I know a lot of people that use the drug mask as their mask. Yeah, cool that you're lit and you're lit, bro. And you're out there partying, bro, and you're racking everyone up some lines, or you got some weed and you're chopping up. If you don't know who you are, that's usually you, weird person. I know who I am, man. I ain't out there trying to share nothing with no one, man. I leave everything at home. I don't really go out there and do that type of shit. If I'm going to go a big one, I'll like make sure it's a safe environment, Uber to wherever we're going, pump out, get home, chill, make sure that we're not annoying anyone or our world's spilling out into anyone else's world. So these are just a few things I want to help people with. Like and subscribe if you have made it this far. Try to leave these till the end because I don't want to be one of those pushy people. Everyone's like, be like everyone else and say like and subscribe at the beginning, and I don't know. I am enjoying doing this whole thing. I'm only doing 10 episodes. It will be boiling down to me talking about 3 or 4 different drugs specifically. I live in New Zealand, so that main one probably is going to be methamphetamine. And that's what it's about, because I think there's so much of it being used here, and you can't go nowhere and talk about it. You can't look in a direction without someone preemptively judging the situation. So I'm just going to be speaking, man. If you want to listen. If you don't, cool with that. Nothing but peace, love, and positivity. Kids, don't do drugs. From a dude who does drugs. Call me a hypocrite. Call it contradicting. I don't give a fuck. But I do. I want to make the world a better place, and if this is the only way I know how, at least I'll be at the front line of this shit. Am I real? Fuck yes. Am I perfect? Fucked? No. Have I had an extraordinary life? Fuck yes. None of you can even come close to what type of life I've had. So this is my place where I get to speak about these things. Whether you think it's right or wrong, it's a real thing. It's one of my other messages that I'm slowly trying to build into this. Be yourself. That's always been my underlying line, is be yourself. And hashtag it's okay to be human. I'll be slowly moving into that because I think we're all trying to be perfect in a world there's not. And we're not supposed to be perfect, so. Outro.